Hey, serious business though. We should mention that we are on the short clock here. We're running out the clock for a big AEW pay-per-view.
Huge.
Almost back to back. I mean, think about what we've had over the last few weeks. We had All Out, we had Bash in Berlin, and now we're back in Chicago, which is like the spiritual home of AEW. And I think there's been 6 matches announced so far. I don't know if you've got your Twitter machine on, but it looks like they just announced the 7th match. Let's run through some of the matches. Of course, the main event for the AEW World Championship, Jack Perry challenging Bryan Danielson, a fellow who you hold in really, really high regard. Tickets are on sale now, AEWTIX.com. What do you think is going to happen here with Jack Perry and Bryan Danielson? Do you have a prediction?
Bryan Danielson is like Patrick Mahomes, coming off a Super Bowl win. By the end of the year, when they figure out all the injuries and work through them and get kind of back into peak performance shape, and I think that's kind of where Brian's at. He went through a little lull there, maybe had a little self-doubt in him. For him to win the big one, and I mean the big one, wife and children at ringside, Swerve, incredible champ, and he dethroned him. I mean this. Ain't nothing stopping Bryan Danielson in the foreseeable future.
I can't wait to see it because it feels like if this really is Bryan Danielson trying to wind down some of his full-time in-ring career, he's looking to prove some points and help make some guys. Swerve Strickland and Bryan Danielson stole the show. It was an incredible performance in Wembley. I expect more of the same here. And I think on the other side, people might be talking about Jack Perry a little differently. Mercedes Monet is going to be taking on Sheeta for the TBS Championship. That might be in the co-main event position. Sheeta, of course, an OG for AEW. Going to be a lot of people paying a lot of attention to this one. I think Mercedes Monet continues her winning ways here. What say you?
Definitely. I mean, coming off Friday night in DC, that's one thing about Mercedes is that the accumulation of AEW going to Mexico, going to the Japan events. She's wrestled on Dynamite. She's racking up some wins, but I think most importantly for someone in their prime, the cadence of staying on top, you have to stay in the game on a consistent basis, and that's what she's doing. So she's got her work cut out, but she's not being dethroned.
Hey, I need to take a little detour here. I know we were going to run down all the matches, and I know I promised you we'd be out of here at a certain time. But something big happened over the weekend that maybe wasn't on everybody's radar, but I know it's on mine and yours. Over the weekend, the NWA held an event in Philadelphia. It was a pay-per-view, and I loved it. It was the 76th anniversary of the NWA, and they went to Philadelphia, the home of the 76ers, and they did a pay-per-view in the old ECW arena. I love everything about that. But when it was all said and done, the main event featured one of your great close personal friends, a guy who a lot of people know because of your old promotion, EC3, took on another one of the mainstays from TNA, the former Braun, the real life Tom Latimer. What made me think of this is we just saw Camille on screen, and I know Camille and her husband Tom Latimer make their home in Middle Tennessee, and we both think a lot of them and are so happy for their success. But Tom Latimer, NWA champion, how cool is that, Jeff?
Could not be happy or for Tom, the human being. I could go into all kinds of well wishes and congrats and a few backstories here and there, but Tom, perseverance. I saw him like really briefly. I did a double take. He was backstage at Wembley, and man, I'm just happy for him. This business, you never ever know what life's going to throw at you. Certainly, professional wrestling's going to throw at you. But if you stay in the game and really continue to grind, good things happen. And this is a complete and clear result of that.
Shout out to Tom and his lovely bride. I'm so happy for their success. The idea that Camille is going to be, I mean, she was at Wembley and now she's going to be in Chicago, and her husband's the NWA world champion. How cool is that?
Super.
Just a great success story. Super happy for them, and can't wait to see what's next. We had another singles match on the card that's been announced for Chicago, getting back to All Out this weekend. MJF, a guy who was one of the pillars of AEW, I suppose, taking on Daniel Garcia. Lots of rumor and innuendo about Mr. Garcia. What do you think happens here, man? MJF, one of their top stars, just lost the championship, his American championship, as he called it, the real life international championship, to Will Osprey. Will MJF get back on the winning track against Daniel Garcia, or is Garcia due for an upset?
Garcia is due for an upset. I think it's that simple. The proving ground that Garcia currently is in, as young as MJF is, but he's got a hell of a statistical run with dates and wins and everything that goes with that. Garcia is a young gun climbing that mountain. I think he's at a crossroads. That's how much I think this match means to him. He gets his hand raised. I think his career goes one way. I think if it doesn't get it raised, and I think he knows that more than anybody. I think Garcia's got his work cut out. I think somehow, some way, he'll figure out a way to persevere and win.
Upset alert from Double J. Here's something that a lot of folks are looking forward to. Willow Nightingale, a fan favorite, taking on Chris Statlander, who I know a lot of folks are really, really high on. They're going to be in a Chicago street fight. A friend of the show, Stokely Hathaway, has said that he's trying to work with Tony to see if he can get AEW production to just play Chris Statlander's theme the entire match, like an old school ECW New Jack ass whipping. That would be kind of fun to see Willow Nightingale get her ass kicked to a soundtrack. What do you think's going to happen here with Statlander and Willow Nightingale?
You know what I've learned in the 2 years I've been there, Conrad? Never bet against Willow. Never. Never. I saw her in the hallway in Calgary that day, and she had her throwback outfit on to Owen and all that kind of stuff. But I just kind of casually said, "Hey, champ," and I've just learned not to bet against Willow. Chicago street fight or no street fight. I think the odds-on favorite, if we're going to Vegas and we're going to take it to DraftKings, my gut would say it's on Stat, but I don't think you can bet against Willow. I'll go with Willow.
We got another fun match coming. I don't know how fun it's going to be, but it is going to be a spectacle. It's a steel cage match with Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page. I know you've had your issues with Hangman. You said in a loud and clear voice on our YouTube at myworldpod.com last week. It's not over in your mind between you and Hangman Adam Page, but you're going to be on the outside looking in as these guys are locked in a solid steel cage. Swerve Strickland, fresh off of an incredible performance at Wembley, but now without his hardware, he blames Hangman Adam Page for some of that, I'm sure. What do you expect to see inside the confines of a steel cage this Saturday night?
Two things. It's a show stealer to me, without question. And it's a pick 'em. Conrad, I've kind of thought, obviously I'm outside looking in and everything that kind of goes with that. And I can put on my wrestler cap or my promoter cap or my fan hat cap. I don't see Swerve. He has kind of made a name this year of winning the big one, and he was on a roll. And I think the stat was he's beaten 9 former world champions or some kind of crazy impressive stat. But then on the flip side, I don't see Hanger. I don't see him laying down. I on that one, I'm going to have to go pick him. I think it could go either way. It's going to be the show stealer, though.
Well, there's 2 more matches left. The last one they've announced before we clicked record today was Will Osprey versus Pac, a singles match for the AEW International Championship. Will Osprey is the internet darling at the moment. What an incredible performance he had with MJF last weekend in Wembley. He's going to be facing another one of his longtime rivals. He's made it pretty clear he considers Pac at his level, and Pac is a day one AEW guy. This is going to be, you said the other one's a show stealer. I think this has got to be up there. For my money, between that cage match and here, it's almost a toss up. But I could totally see Pac being the guy to become the next international champion, especially if we were thinking maybe, possibly, Will Osprey might be gunning for that AEW World Championship. What do you think happens with the international title? This is going to be something that Dave Meltzer is going to run out of asterisks for. What do you think, Osprey and Pac in Chicago?
Can't bet against the Billy Goat. You just can't. Willie Osprey gets his hand raised. Pac coming off the emotional win. Trios champion. My guess would be his head space will be not near as dialed in and near as focused as Will. Will is a gamer. Will get his hand raised.
And it's so new, there's not even a graphic for it, but I have it on good authority.
Oh,
that there is a 6-man tag that's going to be happening in Chicago.
Here we
It'll
go.
be the Young Bucks and Okada taking on Double J, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh.
Get out of here.
And I know all the smart money is coming in on Double J.
Of course.
The rumor and innuendo is he's bringing a pocket full of Blue Chew and 3 guitars.
This winning streak, pal, you got to watch out.
It's going to be a hard-fought match one way or another. Yeah, hey, listen, this winning streak is alive. I mean, you just over the weekend, I saw you and Jay Lethal just whomp and run through half of the roster. I mean, Private Party and Matt Taven and the bunch, the Kingdom. You're handing out ass whoopings left and right. Is it true that you personally? I mean, that's what I was told, is that Jay Lethal and Satnam Singh are going to do their best, Larry Zbyszko and Robert Gibson, and they're going to hold that post up on the side of the ring. And you're going to run through Matt Jackson and then Nick Jackson and then finish off with Okada just like that, 3 in a row, stack them up and pin them. That's what I heard.
Okada needs a receipt. He took my head off in that casino gauntlet in Wembley. So payback is a bitch. And I'm looking forward to hooking it up with Mr. Okada-san.